What's up, my know-it-alls? Well, here we go. We're going into the week. It is literally the week of Ant-Man Quantumania. We're all losing our minds. At least I know this guy is. So, because I am ready. I am ready to see some Kang action. I am ready to see what's going on with Scott turning into spaghetti and is he good? What's happening? I'm ready. But now you have to be. So what do we do here, boys and girls? That's right. We teach you all you need to know about characters, about pop culture, about all kinds of stuff. So it's time for a brand new, I say brand new, I'm going to do a review. I'm going to do a review of the first Ant-Man movie from 2015. So here we go with our first know-it-all retro review. Ant-Man is a Marvel superhero movie released in 2015. The film stars Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, a thief who's given the ability to shrink in size but increase in strength through the use of a special suit created by Hank Pym, played by Michael Douglas. Hank Pym, the original Ant-Man, is trying to stop his former protege, Darren Cross, from creating a similar suit with evil intentions. Gotta hate when the evil intentions come in, man. Am I right? Scott is initially reluctant to become a superhero, but is eventually convinced by Hank and his daughter, Hope Van Dyne, to help stop Cross. Along the way, Scott learns how to control his powers and works to become a true hero. The film is filled with action, humor, and heart as Scott learns the importance of being a good person and a loving father. In the end, Scott and Hank are successful in stopping Cross and preventing the dangerous technology from falling into the wrong hands. Ant-Man proved to be a fun addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe and sets the stage for the character's future adventures. Simple, short, sweet, to the point. Yeah, man. No. So one of the things I really enjoyed about this movie, I remember when I first saw it, was it's a heist film, flat out. It is straight up a heist film. They're not trying to dress it up. They're not trying to decorate it up. They're not trying to put lipstick on a pig, if you will. They flat out are like, nope, it's gonna be a heist movie. So that's what you get. Michael Peña, by the way, is a treasure, national treasure, and a gift.
Okay, I was at a wine tasting with my cousin Ernesto, which was mainly reds, and you know I don't like reds, man. You know, but there was a rosé that saved the day. It was delightful. And he tells me about this girl, Emily, that we used to kick it with. It was actually the first pair of boobs that I ever touched.
It's the wrong details. It has nothing to do with the story. Go.
Both a national treasure and a gift. So why am I talking about Ant-Man the first movie with the logo over here? Because ultimately that's what this is about. This, and we're going to do another one for Ant-Man and the Wasp, or Ant-Man 2, on Thursday, which is going to drop. So I'm trying my best to kind of keep us all super excited because here we go, man. Come Friday and Saturday, it's going to be time for that movie. And I can't wait to do a review. Anyway, all right. So I very much... the de-aging in the beginning, I remember a lot of people were like, were really criticizing the de-aging of Michael Douglas in the beginning of this thing. But I tell you what, I've watched the movie again. I watched it in anticipation and kind of preparation for this review, and it holds up. Is it Luke Skywalker perfect? No, but I think Luke Skywalker's a whole new thing anyway. For those of you playing at home, talking about all the Star Wars de-aging stuff and Luke Skywalker that was in The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett. The Book of Boba Fett. Anyways, so Michael Douglas looks amazing in this. And what's hilarious is everybody else has to look older because they're all younger actors than him, and so they have to be aged up to be closer in age to what they would be, their characters would be in this thing. Anyway, and then you get to really get into Scott, and they open, and over the Marvel thing, there's this like Spanish music, and then you see him, he's in jail. It's this big ceremony they're doing, I guess, where when somebody leaves, they're gonna knock you out, give you a punch or whatever, black eye, I don't know. Anyways, and so then Michael Peña's there to pick him up, and they go, and Michael Peña literally he steals the show every time he's on screen. And he does this really fast-talking Spanish guy routine, which is so funny, because if you know anything about Michael Peña, he's not like that at all in real life. In fact, if you watch a lot of his roles, he usually leans away from it. In this, he leaned all the way in, down to the point that the van he drives is all... Oh, it's great. It's great. Then you get the moment where Scott, now that he's out, he goes to visit... Michael Peña's he's like, hey man, so I got these friends I want to introduce you to. They got this real sweet little job and this and that. He's like, no. I got nothing. I'm not doing this. He's like, I'm not going to do it. I have my daughter to worry about. And he's like, I don't know. You know, it's hard for ex-cons to find a job. And he's like, man, I have a master's degree in electrical engineering. I'll have no problem. And they show him at Baskin Robbins.
You know that jobs don't come easy for ex-cons, right?
Look, man, I got a master's in electrical engineering, all right? I'm gonna be fine.
Welcome to Baskin Robbins. Would you like to try our mango fruit blast?
So yeah, I mean, they set up really nicely this whole opening thing, and then eventually, as he goes forward, it turns out that the place they're going to break into is actually Hank Pym's, and it's a townhouse-looking type place, and they go and they break in. By the way, this is not a slouchy burglary scene. It really isn't. The scene kicks all kinds of butt in many, many ways, and so one of the things I love is how the fact that they show him kind of like he runs up that little roof corner, so he's got some parkour skills. He's not about breaking things if he can avoid it. So he's you know, you got the one dude played by David Dastmalchian, who's up in the where the electrical lines are, kind of knocking out the phone lines and wanting to make sure nobody can call the cops or no alarms going crazy. Anyways, and once he's inside, then he comes up against the safe that's supposed to be there, but you come to find out the safe they've added some curveballs, and so he's got to find a way to get in and this and that. And finally, he does this thing with metal and
Doesn't do so well in the cold. Remember what that iceberg did?
Yeah, man, it killed DiCaprio.
Killed everybody.
Not to kill the old lady. She still throw the jewel into the oceans.
he puts water into the thing and freezes it, and that makes the metal start to bulge out. And again, you get to see Scott knows what he's doing, and you know he's a really good burglar. He makes the distinction that robbery involves the threat of violence, burglary does not. And so he's particularly like, no, I don't like violence, and that. Anyway, he finds this suit. And when he goes home, that's when he does the whole thing. We've seen it a million times. He tries on the suit. He's in the bathroom. And he accidentally hits the button. He shrinks. Miguel comes in. And then he ends up having to escape. And so he rides out, having to get to the sewer. And eventually comes back through. And eventually, boom, into the apartment. There's an apartment downstairs that has this rave music playing. So he's got to run around it. It's very Honey, I Shrunk the Kids on steroids. So because he's trying to avoid these giant shoes and things falling and nonsense, and eventually an animal. And the whole while, he's just like, oh, I'm taking this back. So he goes to take it back, and eventually you find out, nah, man, you're stuck with this. And I love Michael Douglas. It's so good. Michael Douglas plays a really good Hank Pym.
Not bad for a test drive. Keep the suit. I'll be in touch.
No, thank you.
Anybody who knows anything about the comic books, Hank Pym was a character who he's like one of the oldest Avengers, in terms of he's been around forever. And the idea, but he was abusive, and they actually show some of that stuff in the books. So you see a little bit of his attitude and his personality start to come out. Overall, I like what they're doing with the character of Hank Pym. You do have a Scott Lang in the comics. I think there's another guy too at some point, but Michael Douglas is playing a version of Hank Pym that I'm down for. So then you get to Cross. Bro. Hank Pym's protege in this thing is this guy who's playing Darren Cross, Corey Stoll. I don't remember if Darren Cross... I think Cross is a character from the comic books. I can't remember the second. But Corey Stoll, I like him. I think he played this a bit aggressively. He felt like a Biff. Like a Biff Tannen type character. Like you want to sit here and go, why are you a jerk? Just because? I mean, he keeps trying to say that it's because, hey, why did you do this? Why didn't you do this and that? Because Hank got voted out. Voted out of his own company. So anyways, yeah. And what I really love is, as a comic book fan, if you ever see when they do the enlarging and shrinking effect and all this other stuff, you see this repetition or the outline of a person. That's Marvel Studios trying to do their best to redo or make happen the visual effect from the comic books. If you look at the comic books, every time he shrinks or you see the outline of his person. I thought that was such a cool little detail. As a comic book guy, I'm a big fan. So yeah, I tell you what, man, the whole thing they set up, especially because at some point you get to see that now, so this takes place after, not Civil War, but after Captain America. Captain America and the Winter Soldier. So specifically, it's been revealed that Hydra was running S.H.I.E.L.D. and the whole 9 yards. So you get this one guy who used to be part of S.H.I.E.L.D. who's actually part of Hydra, and he comes to go to buy the thing. And so there's just so much. What they do a really good job in this movie of doing is introducing. By the way, all these characters are new to the average movie-going audience, but they introduce them to you in such a way that you feel like you know these characters. In a very short amount of time, they give you backstory, history, and enough that interactions that you go, oh, I know these characters. And that's really the fun part that's happening here. So anyway, all right. Well, there you go. Now you know. And if knowing's half the battle, you're halfway to being a know-it-all yourself. So obviously, it's the whole, Marvel enemy versus from someone else. But I want to tell you guys what's the know-it-all index, because that's what we're always here for, right? All right. So the know-it-all index for this Ant-Man from the 2015 movie Ant-Man in celebration of Quantumania coming up this week. I'm gonna give the first Ant-Man, because again, forgetting Ant-Man 2 and forgetting Quantumania that's coming out and anything else, I'm gonna go ahead and give this movie I'm gonna give it a 9. It does not blow you away. It's not blowing your socks off. I'm giving it a 9 because it is an expertly done heist film that is then overlaid with the concept of a superhero film, right? So you sit here and you go, okay, I mean, it marries those genres together so well. Anyway, comment below. Let me know what you thought of the 2015 film, Marvel Studios film, Ant-Man. I'd love to know what your thoughts are about that movie, but then I'd also love to know, how excited are you for Ant-Man Quantumania? I know I'm thrilled beyond. I'm ready. I'm ready for Kang. I'm ready for what's coming. I'm excited. So, yeah, man. All right, well, I'll talk to you guys soon. Never forget, everyone loves a know-it-all.